in the late 1970s and early 1980s here at the Church of the Immaculata in Richmond Heights, Missouri, a suburb of St. Louis, just up the hill from the Galleria Mall and the University Club Tower. I was sexually exploited, abused, and assaulted, ultimately raped by a Catholic priest named Father Leroy Valentine. And then things got really bad. My abuse was witnessed, at least in part, by a man I knew as father, and you know as Cardinal Timothy Dolan, the Archbishop of New York. I don't know how much exactly Dolan knew, but I know that then Father, now Cardinal Dolan, knew at least something, and in fact, quite a lot in terms of my and our sexual abuse, because Dolan saw things that happened here in the rectory at the Church of the Immaculata. And then things got really bad. In March 2002, same time of year, in the aftermath of the events portrayed in the movie Spotlight, my story is a sequel to the movie Spotlight. The New York Times ran an article naming Father Leroy Valentine as an abuser. I went to the Archdiocese of St. Louis for help by then auxiliary bishop, now Cardinal Dolan, called me back and began a campaign of dirty tricks. Dirty tricks that help to explain why it takes survivors so long, Catholic survivors at least, so long to come forward and talk about and understand our sexual abuse by priests like Father Leroy Valentine. Dirty tricks designed to disorient and confuse and obfuscate our understanding of what happened to us. Dirty tricks that have to be taken into account when it comes to statutes of limitations and other measures, other legal measures designed to address issues of sexual abuse, child sexual abuse, other sexual abuse in the Catholic Church and other churches. And it's these dirty tricks that are not being taken into account that I don't think are understood by the press, by lawmakers, by the people who are responsible for writing and putting into effect those statutes of limitations. In part because the problem of dirty tricks and statutes of limitations extends to people in the government. My case doesn't just involve and implicate Timothy Cardinal Dolan, the Archbishop of New York. It also involves and implicates then Missouri Attorneys General and now United States Senators Josh Hawley and Eric Schmidt, who also contributed to that campaign of dirty tricks. Why don't survivors come forward sooner? Why don't we understand what happened to us? Even if we do remember certain things, not everything. Why don't we speak up more quickly, as soon as things happen? If not, after 5 or 10 years. Why does it take survivors so long to come forward? Catholic survivors at least, but not just the Catholics. In part, the answer to that question is the dirty tricks. The dirty tricks of the Catholic Church, the dirty tricks of Timothy Cardinal Dolan, the dirty tricks of United States Senators Josh Hawley and Eric Schmidt. When people consider statutes of limitations, revisions to statutes of limitation laws, people need to understand the dirty tricks that survivors are subjected to, take those into account, and really disregard the advocacy of the lobbyists of the church, and instead take into account the real lived experiences of survivors.